Yesterday was the trade deadline, and it was a pretty important one for the Yankees. Going into it, they were 10 games back of the division, 3.5 games back of a wild card spot. Just not a great place for the Yankees to be in. The expectations were for them to be much, much better. So it was an important trade deadline. The Yankees either needed to buy and go all in, acquiring a lot of talent to fix the issues on the roster, or sell some players who have value, like Gleyber Torres, Harrison Bader, and then try again next year. The Yankees did neither of those. The Yankees just traded for two relievers who no one knew who they were before they got them, instead of trying to fix the roster flaws. The Yankees needed a left fielder, an infielder, a catcher, and then a relief pitcher. Probably in that order of importance. And the Yankees just got a reliever. That's it. That is nothing. Left field, who's going to play there? That is still a question mark. Jake Bauers, yeah, he's not that good. Billy McKinney, he's not that good either. The Yankees need an actual left fielder on the team. It's pathetic when you're the New York Yankees. You have one of the highest payrolls in baseball, and you have so many flaws on the roster, and then you don't do anything to try to fix the flaws. I mean, there were options available. Speaking for the infield, the Yankees could have gotten Candelario, but the Cubs decided to get him, and it only cost the Cubs their 15th and 29th ranked prospect. Candelario is one of the best hitters in the infield so far. He's one of the best hitting third basemen, while also being a great defensive guy. He has 30 doubles on the season. That would be the most on the team by a lot. DJ LeMahieu has 16. And Candelario has 16 home runs. That would tie Torres for total home runs there. That would not have cost the Yankees the sun and the moon to get. It cost the Cubs basically nothing, and yet the Yankees couldn't pull the trigger and get that trade done. I just don't get it. That would have made the Yankees a better team and helped them improve at third base a lot. Getting a good hitting, good defending third baseman, that is massive, massive, because third base is a major hole for the Yankees. But they don't do that trade. It makes no sense. None. The Yankees should have done that. They should have gone in and bought players who could have improved the team, but they didn't. Look at what the Mets did. The Mets were in a similar situation to the Yankees, albeit slightly worse because they are under 500. But the Mets thought, okay, this is not our year. We've messed up the roster. We're not going to make it. So what did they do? They sold. They sold Verlander. They sold Scherzer. And now they've replenished the farm system. So they're going to be better off next year than the Yankees because of what they just did. And this is my big issue. This issue will continue for years with the Yankees. Years. The reason why the Yankees are doing so poorly and why they couldn't do anything at the trade deadline is because of the roster construction and how it's holding back what the Yankees are able to do. Consider this. DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Hicks are costing the team around $50 million every single season for about the next 3 or 4 years. As long as those guys are on the roster, it's going to make the Yankees almost impossible to get better players. Because it's just a black hole of money there. Judge is making $40 million this year. If you weren't paying LeMahieu, Stanton, and Hicks, that money could either go to, say, getting Ohtani this offseason, or it could have gone to getting a player like Bryce Harper when he was available, and then still have a lot of money to spare and move around. And this is Cashman's fault. This is Brian Cashman's fault. he's the one that has handed out these contracts, constructed this team of all right-handed hitters who are doing poorly, and he was interviewed after the trade deadline, of course, and he said, we were kind of just we were stuck a little bit. Teams were wanting a lot for the players that we were interested in, and they weren't going to give many prospects for our players if we were to sell. And that's Brian Cashman's fault. He's the general manager of the Yankees. He's the reason why that issue is happening. So he cannot complain about that. He is on the hot seat now, and if the Yankees miss the playoffs, there has to be a real talk about Brian Cashman getting fired. Normally, I wouldn't say that. I try to call it pretty straight and say, well, this is what he does good, this is what he does bad. But after this trade deadline, where the Yankees either needed to buy all in and acquire talent and try to improve the team so they can make a push, because they're over 10 games back now, they need a lot of more talent to win, or they should have sold and tried again next year. The Yankees did neither of those things. Could they still win? Could they slither their way into a wild card spot? Yes, but it's a crazy risk taking that. This roster is so poorly constructed. Even if the Yankees make it to the playoffs, I don't see them winning. I just don't. The offense is terrible. The rotation has been inconsistent as of late. The bullpen is good, but at the same time, you can't really do anything if you're protecting 0 runs scored. This has just been a pathetic trade deadline for the Yankees. And it shows just all of the flaws on the team. And it's going to continue for years. The Yankees need to do big moves this trade deadline. Try to trade LeMahieu. Trade LeMahieu and give up a top 10 prospect, top 5 prospect, so team will eat his contract. That would be worth it, because then in the future, you don't have to deal with the $15 million to pay him for the next 3 years. You have money to move around, flexibility on the roster. But nope, the Yankees didn't take any risks this trade deadline. They just sat around doing nothing, and it just makes no sense. It's terrible. I'm hoping that the Yankees are able to come back from this and win. I'm always going to root for them, but I just don't see it happening. Terrible trade deadline. The team is not looking good. Tell me what you think. Do the Yankees have a shot at making the playoffs? If they make it to the playoffs, do they have a shot at winning the World Series? Just let me know what you think about all this in the comments.